In this video, we're going to talk about Star Trek Envoy. Phooey. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd. And when I first saw this episode, I was not impressed with it. I was thinking perhaps they're getting a little too silly. Maybe some of the things that were said about the first episode were true, and it's just taking a little more time to soak in for me. But by the end of this episode, I came to a realization of just what they were trying to say in both stories, the one that concerned Mariner and Boimler, and the smaller side of it that had Rutherford and Tendi. This is that Starfleet officers treat each other with a certain amount of respect, and that respect comes from the encouragement, if you will, for someone to better themselves. Now, without giving too much away, Rutherford in this episode is deciding that he may not be quite set for engineering and tries other divisions. He goes to command, medical, tactical, and in each of these, he is heavily encouraged to do what he's doing. Some of them saying he's a natural welcome to the team, and then when he decided it wasn't for him, they would say, "Good, we're glad that you're going to find a place that you really feel like you fit in." There was not any disappointment. There was not any less of an opinion of him because he wanted to go from one place to the other, even in the areas that valued him the most. So that gave me a rather warm feeling by the end of this episode. Similarly, with Boimler and Mariner's story, in which they are supposed to escort a Klingon general, General Korin, and they make a joke about the fact that most Klingons have an apostrophe in their name for some reason. They did show a number of aliens here, Andorians, Tellarites, a shapeshifter that I'm not familiar with, but I'm told was used in the original animated series. Also, of course, a Klingon, and they mentioned a Bolian, although I don't believe there was one shown. Ferengi kind of in a stereotypical type of acting when we find that the Ferengi really doesn't act like that. Gives a subtle little touch there I kind of liked. They also showed Gak. That was one of the TNG episodes where Riker is exchanging with a Klingon officer. These things are shown. And it's interesting. They are aware, of course, of the different races, and they're making use of the fact that it's an animated cartoon, that they don't have to worry about the cost of making up several different kinds of aliens all in one episode. So that's something that they can do. And by the end of the main story, too, we find a bigger cementing of the relationship between Mariner and Boimler, which is also very heartwarming when it comes down to it. I thought that, at the very first, the episode wasn't going anywhere for me, but once they got to the end of it, it all pulled together and worked. Almost like reading a Kurt Vonnegut novel. Nothing seems to make any sense until you get to the last 5 chapters. That's kind of how this was. At any rate, I've read also that there is pretty low ratings on this by Rotten Tomatoes. They do not have a lot of nice things to say about it there. There have been a number of people who have criticized this show for not being serious enough. It's a comedy. It's going to be silly. It's going to be kind of goofy. There's going to be some similarity to Rick and Morty. We know that. That's why they picked the person who's doing it, McMahon, who is the producer of this. I'm concerned about this kind of thing. This has caused international distribution to be slowed down. Part of it is due to the COVID epidemic, but another is just because it's getting a relatively low liking rate in the United States. They're not as eager to distribute it internationally. And I think that's a loss to the international audience who deserves to see this and make their opinion on it as well. I think they're being too harsh on it, honestly. If you, my opinion, if you like it, that's great. If you don't like it, that's up to you. There are plenty of Trek programs that you can go out there that are currently either in production or those that have been done. There, everything is available on CBS All Access. They're doing every single show from the original series through Enterprise, Discovery, Picard, and whatever. So I think there's something there for everybody, something everybody could enjoy, and don't. I would advise you not to try to say just because you don't particularly like one episode that nobody else should want to see it either. Let us have our variety. Let's experiment with it. Let's see if we can hit something that's really good. And I have a feeling that some of the upcoming things are going to be really good. For instance, Brave New Worlds. I have a feeling that's going to be just a knockout punch with this series. So that's my thought on this. You might have a different opinion, and we certainly will welcome your opinion in the comment section below. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and ring the bell so you know when the next video is coming your way. So until the next episode of Lower Decks comes out, when we will have a review, don't go far.